If you ever wanted to learn how to add in some highlights without the damage, you're not going to want to miss this video. Because in this tutorial, I'm going to show you how I did a pretty dramatic makeover, taking someone with some faded red hair, taking them to a really gorgeous custom chocolate brown brunette shade, and then adding in some custom colored extensions, plus some highlights using all Donna hair. And if you're new here, my name is Mirella Manelli. I'm a hair educator and salon coach, and I'm so excited to start this video. Before we do though, please make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you don't miss a video. Now let's go ahead and get started.
So about 2 months ago, I took my model to a really vibrant red shade, and now she's ready to embrace the dark side. She just wants to get her hair back to a less maintenance routine, and she would really love to add in some hair extensions. And she also would like to have some blonde highlights, but I don't think her hair can quite handle that. So we're going to add in some KeraLink hair extensions and add in some highlights with the hair extensions as well. So in order to do that, we're going to take her canvas to the dark side with a demi permanent hair color. I actually got an influencer box from Redken a while ago, and they were just launching their brand new natural chocolates. So I thought that let's try this for NCH, which is level 4 dark chocolate. I think this will be perfect for turning this red canvas into a more of a rich brunette shade, especially since we're going to be doing the darker color 2 mixed in with the color 610 extensions, which I'll show you in a little bit later. So the way you mix this up is, first of all, you got to use this bottle. It's like the best way to use it, and it has little measuring things on the side. I'm just going to dump all of this. I might mix up more, we'll see. And then you're just going to take this processing solution, which you absolutely must have this. And then you're just gonna mix this up equal parts. So I'm gonna take this up to those 4 ounces. And generally I like putting this on at the bowl, but I'm gonna put it on at the chair so that way you guys can see exactly the full process. And then just a little hack here. Before you mix this up or shake it up, make sure it's nice and secure. Squeeze your bottle, put your finger over the top, and then shake. And this is gonna prevent it from spilling over the nozzle. Like I mentioned, I normally would probably do this in the shampoo bowl. It's the easiest way because Redken Shades EQ is pretty liquidy, so it's just easier to apply it at the bowl. They do have a thickener that you can add to their product as well. And this is partly why too, like I really enjoy using Kenra Color because Kenra Demi Permanent is more of a cream base. It's also alkaline based. So this line is more acidic. They're just different. They're going to give a different end result. And I'm only using this because I got it for free through this influencer box a while back, and I was like, why not try it? Let's just go for it. It's been ages since I've used Shades EQ, and it is a great product. It has its purpose. It has a different finish, like I mentioned. It has a lot of shine, but it's just different than using a cream-based demi-permanent. So I'm just going to go ahead and apply this from her new growth line right on down. I'm not too concerned about taking this all the way to her root area and putting this on her scalp. She doesn't have any blonde there. But what I'm looking for is that this is going to give me a lot of dimension. And I honestly like applying this on dry hair. You can apply your demi-permanent shades on damp or dry, but being that she has her dry hair, there's no water as a dilution tool for me. So this is going to give me maximum deposit, which is great. That's what I want. And I'm okay with her canvas as she has, being that it's bright red. I'm not looking to really remove this red. I kind of want it sitting in the background. So demi-permanent is perfect. So while she's processing for about 20 minutes room temperature, I'm setting up all of my hair extensions. I ordered 2 packs of 22-inch KeraLinks in color 610 and then 4 packs of color 2. And a couple things that you're going to need is a protective disc along with the keratin link cutters, and then of course you're going to need the melting connector. So in order to prepare my hair extensions, I actually love washing them first with clarifying shampoo, and because I just want to add the same type of tone that we are adding into her new hair color, I am going to be adding a lighter version color of the Shades EQ. So I'm going to be using the 6NCH in Demi Permanent just for like 5 minutes, just to kind of like bring it all together. So this is, again, just giving me that same type of light reflection. It is going to come out a little different though, because she has the red canvas prior, and these hair extensions obviously are not red. So I'm just looking to just quickly kind of blast this color onto damp hair. So just a little hint of that chocolate tone that this demi permanent shade comes in. So once these are all wash colored and dried, I then prepare them by pre-cutting them. So I like to cut the bonds into the size that I need, and that way they're just kind of ready for me to go as soon as her hair color is done. So you can really customize the size of these. You can make them into micros. You can use full bonds, half bonds, quarter bonds. So that's why I really love KeraLinks, because they're the ultimate customizable hair extensions possible. So this is her canvas after I did one more gloss using Kenra Professional 5B and Demi. I just wanted to add a little bit more richness since she had those previous highlights. And I think we got a really great canvas, especially for this color 610 highlights we're going to be adding in with those hair extensions. To get started, I want to create a weight line because we're adding length and density. So I want to take this section pretty close to where her occipital is, but you want to use the comb trick just to make sure that the comb is not poking through. That's how you know exactly where you can start. So I know exactly how high up I can go, and as well as how far off to the sides I can go. So wherever you start to see that comb kind of poking through, you either want to take a wider section, and then you also want to drop out those hairline pieces so you know exactly where you want those full bonds to exist. Now, I can cut them even tinier, but I want to really go in with some full bonds here because I want the maximum amount of density. So again, you can customize these hair extensions. That's the beauty of doing KeraLinks, is you can cut them down into micros and get pretty much right on the hairline without them being visible. For this entire bottom row, I'm going to add in my color 2 extensions in full bonds, back to back or side by side with no hair in between. And the reason for this, again, is to create that weight line. So the first 2 rows are kind of the most important because that's where you're building up all of that density. The trick with KeraLinks and really any hair extension install method is to make sure you have super clean section. So this is partly why I either like using my quick pick, or in this case you see that I'm using my rat tail comb, and you want to make sure that each section is as wide and as deep as the keratin bond that you're installing. So that's ultimately the trick here. You also want to make sure that you are using this protective disc. This is going to help prevent any of that keratin bond getting onto the hair around that section. And I always use 2 clips. You want to heat up each of those bonds for just about 3 to 5 seconds and make sure you're spreading it open, tapping it in, and then rolling it into place. There are a lot of people that will tell you to fold it. I find the folding method, it just kind of falls out really quickly. You can already see with this full bond, we got a pretty nice blend here, but I'm going to share a little trick on how to insert the protective disc because I feel like this made all the difference for me when I was first learning. So when you insert it, there is a little hole. So you want to line up the top of that hole to the bottom of the section that you're working with and then clip it into place. And you want to make sure it's nice and flat and it's not lifting up the hair that's sitting behind the disc. You want to make sure it's laying nice and flat. And then when you heat up this bond, you want to try to hold it as best as possible at a 0 elevation. And this is why it's so important that that disc is there, because when you're holding it at a 0 elevation, it's so easy for that bond to get onto the hair around it. And then you're just going to remove it. And look at this pretty nice blend with a full bond inserted. So if you can imagine, you can go in, if you wanted a really seamless blend, you could go in with some, half bonds or quarter bonds as well. So now I'm going to add in another row right on top of this one. So this is only going to be about a 1/2 inch wide. I'm using Kenra Professional volume spray to clean up my section. So a lot of times your clients will have a ton of little baby hairs just kind of floating around. So in order to mitigate that, I just use this hairspray. It's combable and it's flake free, and I love it for keeping my sections super clean. So like I mentioned, I'm going to add in 2 back-to-back rows side by side with this color 2 hair extensions just for that added density. And then on the 3rd row is where I'm going to start to introduce those highlights. So kind of think of this as strategically placing in a partial highlight, if you will. So that first 2 rows should be like where the occipital is. That's where you want the most weight possible. So right here is my 3rd row, and I've already inserted 2 extensions. I always start out with the brunette on the edge. So that's kind of more for like a blending purpose. And I'm pretty much just going to be adding in every other hair extension with that color 610 KeraLink. Now, something that you will notice as I start to move my way up towards the top of the head is there is a slight amount of hair in between each of these bonds. So this is because I want, again, that blending effect versus when I added in the extension side by side on the bottom, that's for building up that density. So this is where I'm going to start to introduce just a little small sliver of hair in between each of those hair extensions. So this is the last row where those full bonds are going to be installed. So as I start to work up and closer towards the top of her head, these bonds will then be cut in half and then even in quarters. So right here, I'm working on my 4th row and I'm quite not ready to marry the front yet. So I just go in with the same pattern with my half bonds. And I'm going to show you how to cut half bonds when you're working with a bond that has multiple colors, such as the color 610. So this is really important. And right here is where I start to marry the front with the back. So you want to keep in mind each client is going to be a little different with the amount of density that they naturally have. So this is why I'm starting up a little higher on her and still working a little back. So now you can see that I'm using a half bond. It's much smaller than what I was using underneath. And this is because of visibility as well as the natural density that it starts to thin out as we work towards the front of the face. So this is where I show you how to cut a bond that has multiple colors. You're going to want to clip the sides of it and leave the center alone. So you're ultimately going to be left with 3 pieces, and you'll be able to marry those blonde and this color 610 together, so that way you can just make a half bond, or you can use them separately. The choice is yours really when creating these types of extensions. That's what makes them so fun and customizable. So I'm completing this entire row here. So keep in mind you want to use smaller bonds as you work up towards the head. And this is my final row here. You can see they're kind of 2 back-to-back sections on the front, but in the back, I'm going to leave a little bit of space in between. So now it's time for the cutting. This is something I actually haven't really shown on my channel yet. And for the hair cutting, I like to just basically push all of this hair back and just kind of see exactly where it's living and visually frame the exterior. So that's kind of where I start. And then from there, I will add in some more layers if necessary. But generally, I like to keep this as long as possible, but I might do some texturizing and some thinning just to kind of blend where that line of demarcation is from the client's natural hair into the hair extensions. And this is a pretty good visual here. You can really see a shelf. So this is why I'm going in with a lot of over direction and just blending in some layers from the natural hair into those extensions. I don't really want to take off any length, so I try to preserve that as much as possible. And when you're cutting hair extensions, this is a very visual technique. So it's a lot different than cutting hair how you typically would. So you're just looking for a blend, and I think I've definitely achieved that. So from here, I'm just going to go ahead and add some curls, because why not? We definitely need those curls when we're doing hair extensions. And check out these highlights, okay? This is a great way and technique to add in some highlights with hair extensions. She added tons of length added density. It looks beautiful. She absolutely loves it and rocks it. And this looks like her real hair, guys. This is the real deal. This is why I love KeraLink hair extensions. You cannot tell that this is not her hair. So this is her before and here's her after. And it was a little difficult, obviously, because we started in the morning and ended at night. This was an all-day transformation. So just to give you a recap, I color corrected her hair with a demi permanent gloss and then custom colored her brown hair extensions. And we just left the color 610 hair extensions completely alone. We just washed them and dried them and added these 22-inch KeraLink hair extensions from Donna hair. She absolutely rocks us. It looks beautiful on her. And she has a total of 5.5 packs of hair installed in her hair. This look will last her about 4 to 6 months with proper care at home. And then I'll see her during that time frame to go ahead and remove this and reinstall.
So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, be sure to share this video with a friend, and if you love more education just like this but you want it sent right to your inbox, be sure to head on over to MirellaManelli.com and sign up for my newsletter. And if you're a hairstylist, salon owner, beauty pro, and you enjoy listening to podcasts, want some business advice, be sure to check out Hair B&B Podcast right here on YouTube. If you just want to listen to it, you can also head on over to Apple Podcast or Spotify or whatever streaming platform you enjoy listening off of. If you would like to learn more about social media marketing, brand deals, monetization, and so much more, what goes behind the scenes of being a content creator and making money beyond the chair, you're going to want to join me in my mastermind called Beyond the Chair Mastermind, which is a monthly group community coaching session for hairstylists and beauty pros that want to take their business to the next level with social media marketing. If you'd like to be a model for one of these YouTube videos, be sure to check out the application form down below to become a model. And if you would like to work more one-on-one with me, be sure to check out my shadowing program. Or if you just want to see some more behind the scenes, maybe you like doing hair with me, be sure to sign up for my YouTube membership right here on this channel. Plus you get the cute little badges. And finally, make sure you comment down below what type of videos you would like to see from me in the future, and check out my other hair tutorials right here on this channel. And I will see you in the next video.